Brittany, and you're listening to Tribe Travelers, where we bring you the experiences of families of color living abroad. Today we have with us Anna from the Acheampong Family. They are a young, modern family who moved from the Netherlands to Ghana with the mission to change the negative perspective of Africa one vlog at a time. She says they all love being there, and whereas they sometimes felt like an outcast in the Netherlands, in Ghana they are fully accepted and loved. Thank you for joining us, Anna.
Hello, you did that intro so well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So tell us more about your family and what made you guys want to move to Ghana.
Yes, so initially we didn't come to move to Ghana. We came to just had like a break from our fast-track European life. We really needed a break from 9 to 5, working day to day, and just the fast-track life in Europe, like rushing to go to the store, rushing to get your kids, rushing. So we thought, why not take a sabbatical and get to know Ghana better? Both our fathers are from Ghana and our mothers are Dutch. We grew up in a very Dutch way, and we didn't really know a lot about our culture and our heritage. So when our daughter was of age and she started asking questions, we couldn't really answer that questions well enough. So we thought, why not bring her to the source and then learn as a family all together? So that was the first initial thought of us coming to Ghana for like a year.
That's awesome. So you said you guys wanted to get away from the fast-paced life. Do you feel like you've accomplished that since you've been in Ghana?
Well, Ghana is challenging. It has its ups and downs, but we are definitely acclimatizing to the less fast-track pace, but it's very difficult to do that as somebody who's not used to it, because here it goes very, very slow. And that can sometimes be really irritating.
Right.
But it also really has its plus sides. So we're still trying to acclimatize,
So how about with your children? Like, how was the transition, or how has the transition been?
I think children adapt very easily. In the beginning, especially when they went to school, they were loving day-to-day life, like playing in the sun, being able to swim, going to school with all their peers, and being around the majority of Black kids was a very big, huge positive impact on them. Yes. But then COVID hit, and then they couldn't go to school anymore, and we're really not the homeschool types. So then they started to miss their friends and their family and their school in the Netherlands, and it was a challenge for them. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to just pop into the nuts and bolts of the expat life, and just kind of revert back to when you said you left the 9 to 5 hustle. So How are you supporting yourselves now? How do you support yourself? What's the job market like? Or are you going to, or have you already started a business?
Yes. So YouTube is our main business now. It started out as a hobby, but it's now growing into a platform where we just love to communicate and be in contact with people who are like-minded, who like to come to Ghana, who want to learn more about the motherland. So that is a first source of income. It's not huge, but it's okay. And then we've created a website where people can have consultation with us who are ready to move to Ghana. So that is another business we have just started. Yeah.
What's your website?
www.theacheampongfamily.com.
Great. All right. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. And so it looks like it's the e-commerce or the type of business front. So I guess doing it in that way, there haven't been any sort of pickups like, you need a business license from Ghana, or you have to pay taxes, or, something if you had an actual physical storefront. Or
yes, it's different.
Okay. So what about housing? What's it like? I'm sure it's different than in the Netherlands. I can only assume what housing in the Netherlands is like. But, and then especially, did it come furnished or was it unfurnished?
Also, there are different options here in Ghana. You can buy, you can rent, you can have furnished, you can have unfurnished, you can pay $10,000, you can pay $100. It is up to you.
So like for your family, what would you say something that's comfortable? I mean, I saw you guys house with the pool.
House hunting. It was one of the biggest
like
issues
her
that
house
we
with
had.
the pool is amazing.
Wow. Okay.
And it's like a building out here with the pool.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I got it. Right.
yeah, but like you said, it's a lot of space. It can be difficult to maintain if you don't have help. Heating and cooling is a big issue.
Very, very.
So those are additional costs to take into consideration.
Yeah.
But what have you found for you guys is comfortable as far as the price range?
So I think the housing market in Accra is a huge pain. So most of the housing market are focused on expats who come and work for companies who can pay almost any amount. So if you want to live comfortable, it's very difficult to find a house which is our quality of standard living. So the house we previously lived in was a good vacation home that we rented with the idea that we're going to stay in Ghana for like a year. So within that period, it was amazing because we had all the space of all the family who was coming to visit, for them to have their private room, for the kids to play around in the pool. Okay. But the maintenance in Ghana is a big issue. Like, there are not really laws who can protect renters. Only so it's like a black market. Anyone can ask anything they want. Anybody can do anything they want. So depending on the landlord you have, you can have a very good and comfortable house, but you can also have a drama home, a horror house. Yeah. So it's difficult. And I think everybody should really keep in mind that once you're going to rent in Ghana, you need to make sure that is in your contract who is going to take care of the maintenance. Because
that was my next question.
Yeah. Like, I think everybody in Europe and the Western life is used to that. The landlords are responsible for maintenance. But here in Ghana, that's a whole other issue. Yeah. And to hold them responsible is a challenge.
Okay.
Totally understand.
And then I would also assume then with the maintenance, your utilities are most likely paid separately as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But it also depends. You have where it's all inclusive and you have where it's separately.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you find the all inclusive to be more expensive or cheaper than paying it separately on your own?
I think it's cheaper if you pay separately. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then it also comes with challenges because it depends on how your water is connected. Like, are you going to pay for your own water which will come with a truck and will fill the poly tanks, or are you going to have Ghana water? Is the pressure for Ghana water strong enough to supply your house, or do you need to fill the additional poly tanks? So there's a lot of things you have to keep in mind before you can live comfortably here. And it has been a real challenge for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Yeah, that does sound very, very outside of what, typical Americans or foreigners are used to. And having that information is important because that gives people the insight of what they should be expecting.
So if you're willing to pay $3,000 a month, you can live very comfortably in a very good, luxurious house in American and European standard living.
I'm sorry, you said 3,000. Let's see, and yes. I'm glad you stated the cost. What you said was living comfortably, because there is this image that people can come to Africa and save all sorts of money and live a high quality life with paying very little, when that is not actually the case. That is not actually the case. That is a misnomer there.
If you build your own house, you build your own house and find good quality builders, you can live very, very comfortably here because you're not going to pay anything unless for your utilities. But finding a quality house within a normal price range of like a mortgage or rent or just a normal price range is close to, I can't say impossible, but it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Very
so
difficult.
Really the best thing would be to plan to build a house.
Build your own.
Yes. When you come. Yes. That would be the best move.
Okay.
Yes.
I have another question. I watched a video of another family where they were saying that in Ghana, when you rent, they want like 1 year's rent up front.
Okay. So most of the landlords want that, but it is even in the law that they're not allowed to ask 6 months and more. But like, there is nobody who, not that I know of, that is like enforcing those laws. So who do you go to when you paid for 2 years upfront and then your generator broke down and the landlord does not want to fix it? Where do you go to?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So is there, as we would say in the States, you have renter's insurance or home buyer's insurance. So as a renter, I'm assuming that if there's no one to go to say, this is in my contract and it's not being fixed. So it doesn't even matter or is it even available to have renter's insurance?
I think there are some companies, but there's none that I know of that are actually enforcing those rules or standing behind you. I think once the contract is signed, you can always hire a lawyer and go to a judge, but it can take ages in Ghana. It can take ages. So anybody who wants to come and rent here should just keep in mind that your landlord needs to be a good, trustworthy landlord. You can't just rent from anybody.
Right.
Would you say then the more money you spend, possibly the better the landlord is going to be?
We are trying to network with people, landlords, and companies who are trustworthy. So that is something that we really want to stand for. But it's very difficult to find. So once we find those people, we hold on to them and give that information out because it's very good and valuable.
Right.
Even, of course, money talks. That is the way it goes in Africa. But it doesn't mean that when you have a lot of money that you get the standard living that you're wanting and you get the quality of service that you're wanting.
Right.
But mostly, yes, but not always. No.
Gotcha.
I can't name names, but there is a very high-end quality, saying that they're quality apartments, who once we spend the night there, the sink was just falling apart. And we asked them like, how? We're paying like, I think $200 to $300 a night. How come the sink is falling apart? Oh, don't worry, ma'am. It's going to be fixed next thing in the morning. And then next day it's still not fixed. So imagine if you paid upfront for a whole month to stay there.
Good Lord. That's paying for the name.
Right. So what about transportation? I know you said you came with the idea of staying for a year, so I would assume you didn't import your car in.
No.
And I've been just using transportation that's from Ghana. So what's the transportation like?
So you can rent a car, which is very pricey. I would say that if you know that you're coming to stay, invest in buying a car or ship your own car here.
How is it shipping a car there? Is it a straightforward process?
It's not too difficult. I think it can just be costly. So you have to look at your car and the mileage and the quality of your car and if it's going to be a good car to drive in Ghana. Like the roads here are challenging.
Okay.
So you need good tires. You need to know that isn't your car too expensive to import if anything breaks down? Is it a car that is used often here? Is it parts are easy to find? Those are all the things to keep in mind.
Exactly.
Very good. Excellent.
Okay.
I would say if you are a single person, public transport, it's not too comfortable, but it's very easy to go around here in Accra once you know how to use the system. And it's very, very cheap. I mean, all Ghanaians do so. But for a family, I would say that going in and out of Uber, it's challenging. Yeah. So I would definitely recommend that.
I mean, because here when we were, no children, we took public transportation all the time. But now we rent a car because you got a family and in and out of buses. So as far as what's the Uber system like? Is it effective?
Very good. Very good.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
And there's also Bolt. And I think those are the two biggest ones. And you have taxis here. If you can negotiate well, that's also a very good option.
Oh, okay. So that also means speaking the language and being able to know.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, no, everybody speaks English here. So that's no problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes.
But it means, not sounding so Western.
Maybe. So I should rephrase it like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then there's your skin color, which is also challenging.
Yeah.
Well, then there's your skin color, which is also challenging. The way you dress, the way you talk, the way you...
Everything. Yeah.
They can smell it if you're foreigner.
Right. So then that brings an interesting point. You said both your husband and your fathers are Ghanaians. So when you came back, what was the reception like for you as a Ghanaian family, even though you've lived in the Netherlands all your life?
Yeah. So in the net, we feel very Dutch and very Ghanaian. We feel both, right? So when we introduce ourselves in the Netherlands, we say, hi, you just introduce yourself. People ask where you come from and you say, I'm Dutch. And then they also ask you like, you're Dutch? No, you're not Dutch. Right. They're not pointing to your skin, but that's where they want to go to. Like, explain how are you Dutch? And once you explain that, okay, my mom is Dutch, I was born in and raised in the Netherlands, and I have a Ghanaian father, they say, oh, but then you're not Dutch, you know? So there's always that trigger behind. I will not say racist, but it's low-key, like the acceptance is not here. It's not there a lot. Whilst in Ghana, the crazy thing is that once you explain who you are, they're just celebrating you. Like they will say, wow, welcome. So it is a very big difference that we're happy with, but then it's also a challenge because sometimes here we are a little too celebrated. Like it's reverse racism. Like there was a time in COVID where you had to stand in line to get into the grocery store. Sure. And then the security guy will call me and say, oh, madam, come. And I'm asking like, why? I'm waiting. Right? What is it? I told you want money or something. He said, no, you have to come. You can't stand in line. And I said, why? I'm standing behind everyone. No, you look too good. Come.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's also stuff that, how are you going to respond to that? And I said, no, I'm okay. I'll wait with the rest of the people. But then there's also people who take advantage of that on a day-to-day basis and where Ghanaians frown upon. So it's a challenge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've heard the same sort of instances in being in South Africa, where you are, if you're an African American in South Africa, it's the big welcome back, welcome home, and you kind of put over all the tribal people that are already there, you know, given that sort of high stature, which that's really not what you want because you're trying to fit in, you want to be a part, you want to be a part of this culture and to do things the right way. So definitely.
I guess which leads us to the issue of classism. I would assume in Ghana, classism exists, and that's part of that. You're of a different class than those people, so you need to get in line first.
Right.
I think it's very deeply rooted in Black people in general that white is better. And that is still the case in Ghana as well. Everything from abroad is better, which is very sad, but that's the way it is at the moment.
I wanted to, on the topic of the fact that you and your husband are Ghanaian, as far as the visa or residency, what does that look like for you guys?
So you can keep extending your visa. It depends on the country you come from, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with you guys, with your father's being Ghanaian, does that make a difference as far as renewing your visa or getting residency?
No. I think it's way more easy when you can prove that you're Ghanaian. You're eligible for a passport and all that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming we wouldn't have any sort of information on the whole return.
The return to Ghana.
Yeah, the law return or,
There's so many times we have tried to get in touch with the people in charge of the year of return because there should be a policy where it is possible. It is not because right now, as a foreigner, non-Ghanaian, coming back to Ghana and establish yourself, it is so difficult because you can't get a passport. So that makes things very challenging. You can't really own land. It is difficult to start up a business. So there's a lot of hurdles that you have to go through. And I really hope that maybe me or another person or somebody can really sit down with government and make a change in that because they're calling on African Americans to come settle in Ghana, but how are they helping them?
Right. There has to be some security for the expats who come to know that if I invest here, my investments are secure. I'm not going to be deported or my visa is not going to be denied.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
interesting. Yeah, because it's painted as a different picture. Come back. We want you back. But of course, that looks different when you're actually there. And
Yes.
like you said, you can't own land or start a business because you don't have a passport.
Mm-hmm. But you can start a business. It's just very, very costly. I think
costly.
It's about $250,000 if you're non-Ghanaian to start a business here.
Wow.
Please don't hold me on to that. I always do your own research.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Or you, how do you say that? You collaborate with a Ghanaian or you partner with a Ghanaian, then it's possible.
Okay. I would assume then, not most, but a lot of people may be taking that avenue because $250,000 is a lot of capital to have.
Yes,
to have right.
It is way too much. And that is why I hope there will be rules and regulations enforced to change that and make it really possible for diaspora to move back to Ghana or anywhere in Africa. But right now it's challenging. And then there's also the trust factor. I'm not saying that Ghanaians are not to be trusted, but there's a lot of corruption here in all layers of society. So to find a business partner who you can trust and really set up a legit business with it's just difficult.
Yeah. And then that goes back to the issue of enforcement and law enforcement. Somebody screws you over. What recourse do you have?
Yeah.
So with on that note, would you say that has hindered you guys from assimilating to the culture or making good friends with Ghanaians or building trust? Your children making friends with other children and building that trust and building community?
No, I think if you just listen, like Ghanaian people are very friendly and open. So if you just listen to your instincts, it is very easy to make friends with. But I think where the difficulty comes in is making friends with people who are in a different financial state than you. Like you also need to understand the hustle. Like the hustle here in Ghana is so like, you need to eat to survive. Like day to day, people are hustling. So if somebody from a very different financial background is trying to be friends with you, of course, that person is going to want something from you because that person wants to build up. So you always have to just listen to your conscience and know that, okay, is this a good decision or not? And should I invest or not? Like, just always listen to yourself. And I think,
it's difficult, especially coming from the West, the classism and the different financial statuses. It's difficult to wrap your mind around. And even here, we live in Egypt. I speak Arabic pretty fluently. And, I've tried to make friends with the lower class children that live in our neighborhood. But it's like, once you open the door, then, you give them an inch and they take a mile. It's hard because you want to build that relationship, but the dynamic on their part, they got the hustle mentality. And so it's hard to navigate that sometimes.
Yeah. It's the same here. But then there are a lot of middle class families and upper class families who you can mingle with. You just have to know where to find those people. Yeah.
So is the middle class big there? Or
yes, I think it's really growing now. Really growing.
Yeah.
Like there's so many business opportunities. Like sometimes I can't sleep of thinking how many things you can do or start here.
Wow.
But I think the majority difficulty here for Ghanaian people is that money, like getting a bank loan here is, I think the rates are 23%. Like who can start a business with 23%? That is just crazy.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of Ghanaians who really do find a way to make it, and they are making it big.
It's positive to hear that there is such a big middle class. That that's a promising aspect of moving to Ghana for sure.
I really think that not only Ghana, but Africa is the future. Like starting a business in Europe, you have, even if you come up with an idea, you have 10 competitors. Here, if you have a good idea, there's 1, 2, 3, or there's none.
Right.
And especially if you have Western experience, customer service, how to market. It's not that difficult to make it here, but you need the capital though.
You need the capital, and I would assume you need the connections
Sure.
Yes.
The networking is key.
Yes.
What about the expat community? Are you guys active with other expats?
Yes. It's a very big community and they're living the best life.
Well, that's nice to hear that they're living.
To be honest, I'm so jealous of expats living here. They don't pay taxes. They get the biggest houses with the pools and gardens.
Interesting. Okay.
Paid and they don't have to think about anything. They live the best life.
So the expats, they're mostly maybe, from the Western, maybe oil and gas, or teachers in the private schools, or they're
NGOs,
of that.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So many. And not only Western people. I mean, there's African expats too, like South African, Kenya, Mali. Okay. There's so many. And they're living their best life.
Actually, a friend of mine who I work with here, she's South African, and she absolutely adored Ghana. She's a teacher, been teaching for 27 years, and she's actually on her way back.
I think if you have like a company or somebody to settle housing, school, transportation, and all that basic stuff like mental care, healthcare, and and just everything, then you land on the softest pillow possible. And Ghana is the best place to be. Starting a new life, the hustle is real.
Right. There's so many things that we wish you would have known beforehand before moving abroad. And so if you can get a job with your company or another company, an overseas company, and move to your location, that's better.
But I would say that I think before COVID, it was difficult to find an expat job. So after COVID, it's close to impossible. Like Kevin had before COVID, we weren't thinking about coming to live here, but he had so many job offers. Whilst now that he's looking for a job, it's almost impossible to find one because COVID has changed the whole market. So don't come looking for a job in Ghana.
Right.
Only try and create.
Right. And that takes capital, like you said.
Yes.
And like in networking. So it would be definitely beneficial to visit, to make connections.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move to healthcare. What's healthcare like there? Is it expensive? Do you guys have insurance or kind of pay as you go?
Yeah. So we just, how do you say that? Our insurance just ended from the Netherlands because we decided to reside here. And we are now looking into that. Like, how can you find a trustworthy company to insure your family with? Because most insurances, again, are for expats. Like the company will pay for your insurance and then all the costs are covered. But to find the insurance, which is not too expensive to pay on a month-to-month basis, is also a challenge.
Is healthcare there expensive in and of itself?
Ghanaian healthcare, I don't think is expensive for us. But then is that a quality that you want? Like, I would like my family to be insured and get the healthcare in the best possible quality. But getting that in Ghana is very, very expensive. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
And I would still say that healthcare is something that is not really a booming sector here. It is not on the standard level that we are used to.
Okay. So that's
but I would say that like herbal doctors and all the I can't say that it's non-medical, but different, that is very, very good. Like the problem I had with my hemorrhoids, where we did a video with, I tried to do that in like a herbal way, and it really helps me so much. So if you're open to that, Africa can be so beautiful because there are so many organic resources that you can try, but you still want to have like medical for emergencies available in the best quality. That is still a challenge. Yeah,
absolutely. And you're saying that care is available but costly.
Yes, it's costly. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay. As far as just curious, the COVID vaccine, what's the scene like there? As far as COVID in general, is everyone still social distancing, wearing masks? Are people getting vaccines? What's going on?
wearing masks is mandatory. And in each store you go, you have to wash your hands. They take your temperature and you do hand sanitizer. So I think in that way, we are a little bit ahead. But there is no social distancing in Ghana, and I don't think it's even possible.
Yeah.
So the COVID cases were not as much. Like I would say before December, COVID was almost, like 300. I think we had 300 to 400 cases. But because the borders opened again, the flight borders, and in December, a lot of people from abroad came in. And that is causing now that is a huge rise in COVID cases. And I think even the English version, the one that is like the newer, which is faster to transmit, has come here. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
So everything is still open. Everything is still working. And in that part, I think it's very nice to be in this part of the world right now. We don't have a lockdown. You can still go to the barber. You can get your fresh food and everything.
Right.
But in regards to your safety, you just have to keep a conscious effort to yourself. Like, am I going to go out tonight? Should I really go to the club? Is it good to go to a restaurant with my kids? So that is something you have to decide for yourself.
Okay. So speaking of clubs and restaurants, what's it like as far as leisure activities, as far as activities for the children to do, different things,
That we also find a challenge because right now we moved to an apartment where we are not outside as much as in the house before. And we want to move to we want to go to parks or playgrounds. I think Accra is not built for children. And the way real estate's built is to make the most profit out of the piece of land that they are having without thinking of, okay, maybe there should be a playground. Maybe there should be empty space. Maybe there should be shading. And the way they build is to just tile everything, which I'm thinking who comes to Africa to live in a tiled compound? Nobody wants
seriously,
that, right?
To live in a concrete jungle.
Yeah. So to be honest, if it wasn't for the kids' school, I would live somewhere way, way further than Accra and just live in my small African hut with a very big garden for the kids to play in. But then education is a challenge. Yeah.
Interesting. And so tell me about their school. Is it an international school?
Yes. So before they were in a semi-international school, because we found it really important that they were around Ghanaian kids because we came to Ghana. So I would say that not all schools, but just as almost everything in Ghana, on the outside or on paper, that school is perfect. But the execution of it can be a challenge. Like this school was doing the British curriculum. And I think they follow it on paper. But if the teachers are not trained to provide that British curriculum, the execution of it is just not there. So then Micah will come home and saying that he watched TV the whole day. And then I will call them and say, what happened? And they said, oh, yeah, today this, today that. And I don't know. It was a challenge. So we took them out of that semi-international school and placed them in a high standard quality IB international school.
Okay.
But that is also a cost that you have to keep in mind. We came from the Netherlands where education is completely free. And I think it's one of the highest quality of education in the world. And then if you move here thinking that you're going to budget $10,000 for each child a year, it is something you have to keep in mind.
Absolutely. So, so what would the tuition be for per child?
Around approximately, if you want to have a good quality international school, it's approximately $10,000 per child per year.
Wow. Okay. And you are satisfied with this school, right?
Let me come back to that in a year. I'm okay. I think they're doing very well, but I can't really say that within 2 months. It's too soon.
Okay. They only been there a few months. And then with COVID and everything, it's,
Yes, because they have been homeschooled. The school were closed in Ghana for over 10 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were they doing lessons online?
Yes, they were doing lessons online, and then we had a teacher coming to the house to help.
Really? That's
yes.
impressive.
It is Ghanaian standard teaching.
Gotcha. And their school, is it mostly Ghanaian children, or is there kind of a mix?
I would say mostly non-Ghanaian children, which is, I think middle-class Ghanaians are not yet available to really afford that. So it's high, can you say high class? Higher right. paid Ghanaian people who send their kids there, but mostly it's expats.
Okay. Same here in Egypt. And an issue that, we homeschool our children, but one issue that I've heard from some parents is that, you put your children in a school that has the quality of education that you want, but at the same time, they're only around high class children. And then that comes with other challenges.
Challenges, exactly. My daughter's 8 years old. And last time when we were still living in the house before, she will ask kids who she met, how big is your pool? That was her question. And I was like, oh my God, did I bring my kids to Ghana to compare pools? It was just that, I just wanted to go and live in a village.
Wow. So, do you ever see that happening for you guys in the future? What would that look like?
I think I can do that for a week. But to be very honest, I envy people who just live a simple life where they only have to think about what they're going to eat that day. But for me, who's brought up in the West, who has all the amenities and possibilities and all the education, I think it's very difficult to downgrade to that standard. For me, it's not possible.
I agree. It's idealistic. But then, like you said, we have these expectations, standards that we're used to, and it is difficult to let go of that and to strip yourself down. And and
it's so difficult to that. Like in Ghana, so many people just in a day. Like for instance, when it rains, everything stops here. Like if it rains and you're late for work for like 2 hours. You just say it's because of the rain.
Right.
to slow down to that pace, sometimes it's so challenging for me. Like I can't just sit and do nothing. That is really challenging for me. But then that's sometimes how people live here. Just sit the whole day and do nothing.
Mm-hmm. Then it kind of escapes us. How can you just sit there? All day. My
mind won't stop working, but then maybe that person is really content and really happy that he can just sit and do nothing. Right. So,
and another question. So for some people who may want to move to Ghana, but they don't want to go to Accra, they want to go to a more rural area.
Yeah.
From what you know, as far as internet, electricity, water, what does that look like as far as outside of Accra?
So if you can live without internet, I think it's perfectly doable. There's electricity and you can get your water. Mm-hmm. So, but internet is a challenge. Like even, so we live in airport, right? It's one of the high-end places to live in Accra. Mm-hmm. And I still have challenges with my internet from day to day.
Right.
So, I don't.
No. Yeah, I had challenges with my internet this morning.
That's Africa. You're not there yet.
No, because actually, we're in Cairo and it almost never rains. It rains a couple of days out of the year. Well, It's been raining since Tuesday off and on, which is like unheard of. 4 days in a row of rain.
Oh, wow.
So our internet has been shaky, mobile data and everything. So
yeah. It happens here too. But then there's also like let's say if you really want to invest in your internet and you're paying a huge amount, let's say maybe $200 a month, you can make sure that you have stable internet connection. Wow. But when lights, so you need a generator if the lights come off. There's always possibilities. That's why I said that money talks. Once you have a lot of money, you can do almost anything here. Right. And that is a very beautiful thing to look at, I think. Mm-hmm. It makes me want to work harder.
It's important because I'm thinking about families who want to move. These are things you need to know. You need to have your money right before you come.
Yes.
It's possible. It's doable. You just have to plan for it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I want to ask you now about the food there.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys find the local cuisine? Are you able to access foods that you're used to, or what was it like shifting or adjusting to the food there?
Okay, so we were already used to Ghanaian food. So for us, it wasn't that difficult. The kids too. And I would say that once we had the idea of coming here, we were just thinking about, oh my God, I'm going to eat Ghanaian food each and every day. But at a certain point, I think once 6 months or more passed, we were like, nah, I want pizza. Or you think about other things that you miss, right? So yeah, now it is, So where we live now, there's amenities where you can get anything you want. So if you want cheese, we just go and get it. Mm-hmm. But before, we lived in East Legon, where the supermarkets you have foreign items was a little bit further away. Mm-hmm. So we wouldn't really drive that long. So we would eat local food Monday to Friday. And on the weekends, we would go to restaurants, and there we will always eat foreign dishes. But now that we live in airport, we eat a lot of, we cook a lot of, Western food as well. And then mostly if we want to take out, then it's Ghanaian food. Yeah.
What about delivery there? Is that big there?
It is, but it depends on where you live. So it's not all areas where this food will come is still warm. So.
Gotcha. As because here in Egypt, delivery culture is very big. McDonald's, everybody delivers.
Oh, okay.
Everywhere. Yeah.
You don't have McDonald's, but you can definitely order Burger King or KFC. Only if it comes hot, that's another question.
Gotcha. Okay. And speaking of food and restaurants, are there a lot of restaurants that serve international cuisine? And what's the dining experience like? What's the customer service like?
You can find anything you want. I think from each kitchen in the world, there's a restaurant here. Nice. But customer service is still a challenge.
Yeah.
I went to a small cafe with my mom, and then I'm thinking like, okay, I'm sitting down and I'm asking them to clean the space where I'm going to sit down. Then they clean it in a way that is still not very clean. But okay, I sit, that's fine. Let me just relax.
Yeah.
Then I'm sitting down and I'm waiting for the waiter to come. He tells me that I should go inside to order. And I said, why? You're here, right? No, I need to go inside and order. Okay, I go inside. There's 2 people. And I said, who's going to take my order? Then I'm telling my order to the girl. She walks away. And then I said, I'm not finished. And then the other guy said, okay, and it's just, I don't know. It's just a whole hassle. Yeah. Customer service is a real challenge here in Ghana, a real challenge.
So if you have a customer service improvement business, there's an opportunity for that, maybe, or
very
training.
Big business opportunity. Yeah. Yes. But then I think that because the demand is so high, it doesn't really matter I think a lot of business owners think that it doesn't matter. Clients will come anyway. But if you set up a business here and you just provide good customer service, I think your business can grow 3 or 4 times where a normal business would just grow, let's say 50%. I don't know. I think that there's so much space in the customer service, but businesses grow here in Ghana. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs think, why make the effort? It's okay. I'm getting money now. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I can see that parallel here in Egypt, especially like in the cafe and the restaurateur business. Anyone can open up a restaurant or a little truck stand or an espresso stand on the dirt side of the freeway, or a food truck, and people will come anyway. Right. And there's no set of standards like, okay, we don't eat in the dirt or the sand, excuse me. This is not a standard of how we should conduct business, but because there is no one to check or to say, no, this is not how it's done. The businesses here, something like that here thrives anyway as well. And then because they thrive, again, like you said, people don't feel like they have to invest in that per se. I mean, there are some that do, but for the most part, we don't need to invest in that because you're going to come anyway because there is nothing else for you to do.
Okay. Well, I think Ghana's then a little bit ahead because we have Food and Drug Authority. So there you can't just anyone open a business. But I think the stance outside, that is only a matter of money. But if you want to open a real restaurant, you have to go through that Food and Drug Authority. But then again, there's corruption. So money talks.
Right. Always.
Right. All right. So as far as you guys going back to the Netherlands, do you see your family traveling back often?
Well, if it wasn't for COVID, we would have gone back on vacation twice, I think. But right now, I don't really feel comfortable flying. But we do miss our friends and family in the Netherlands a lot. And we miss going to playgrounds, to amusement parks, to museums, and all that kid stuff. Yeah, there's not a lot of that here.
Yeah. Now, I have a question as far as your children and their education, because this is something that we talk about here. When they grow up and finish high school and complete their secondary education, then what? Do you expect them to go back to the Netherlands? If they do you plan on your whole family relocating? How are the universities in Accra?
So I think we want the kids to school in the Netherlands when they go to high school. I think kids here who go in high school are not really that independent, where in the Netherlands you see kids biking to their school, taking public transport alone, and that is not really done here. So I would like them to school in the Netherlands, but then I don't know what they would like. So basically we kept in mind that we're going to stay here until my oldest daughter finishes basic school. And then we're going to revert with the whole family and decide what we're going to do.
Okay, that's good.
But their input is also very big. If they're going to say that, no, Mom, we want to stay in Ghana, then of course we'll stay in Ghana.
Yeah. So would you consider let's say if they get to high school and they don't want to continue school are there options for like homeschooling, but from the Netherlands?
I am not the homeschooling type. I don't have patience. No, I am not a teacher. I'm not qualified. I've tried that for 10 months and no, I can definitely say that's not for me.
And that's okay because that's not for everybody,
Yes. So I would say that when Netherlands is our home, we have known that for our whole life. And luckily enough, we can always go back. I hope if the world continues to go back to normal, it depends, who knows? They're going to say that you need a vaccination to fly, or you're not allowed to go back until you have this chip on your skin.
Yeah, really.
I'm not going to do. I'm going to stay in Ghana for
COVID has really changed things, considering travel and moving, relocating.
Yes.
A lot of things to take into consideration. Well, now that's another question I have. So at home, do you guys speak English, Dutch, a mix?
So Sophie still speaks Dutch the majority of the time. But I think when Micah came, he was very young. So he mixes Dutch and English. So whatever he starts with, that's how we reciprocate.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay. Like, do you plan to teach him Dutch and make sure he keeps up with his Dutch?
Yeah, so we had a discussion because Micah is of age where he's now learning how to read and write. So the Dutch school advised for him to do that in English. And then once he learns that, he will also go to the Dutch school to keep that up.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because with my children, I learned Arabic in university and I speak it pretty well, but I want them to get the foundation in English first and then transition to the Arabic.
Yeah. And Sophie, she was able to read and write before we came. So she's now learning it both in English and then keeping it up in Dutch.
Nice.
So I think kids, whatever age, if you could choose, bring your kids as young as possible. So that it's very easy for them to adapt. But I find it that families who come here, children are so adaptive and you don't really have to stress about that.
Yeah. Okay. So what advice would you give to families who are thinking about migrating to Ghana?
I would say definitely do it. I think right now with this COVID mess, it is the best time, but you need to prepare well. Africa is not cheap. It is not cheap to start your life over here. Once you've set your life, then I think it's cheap to live because the only thing you're going to pay is your utilities. But getting to that point is not easy at all. And don't trust anybody just like that.
Okay.
We're here for you. Book on how do you say that, on consultation, so that we can help you get there.
Right. So please let everyone know what platforms you're on, how they can connect with you, how they can reach you, how they can follow you.
So our name is the Acheampong Family everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, our website, and we are here to help you. That's what we love to do: help families get there too, because we really do believe that Ghana is a beautiful place to live and settle down, but it's not easy to get to that point.
And it is key having people on the ground who have been there, done that, who've paved the way.
Yes, I think so too. So that's what we're working very hard for, to look for companies and businesses and realtors and health insurance that are just good and trustworthy.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Tribe Travelers. If you like what you heard, join the Facebook group and interact with other families of color living abroad. You can find links to our guest platforms as well as our platforms in the show notes. If you'd like to be a part of the show, email us at tribetravelerspodcast@gmail.com.